Welcome back to my shop. This is another video on the Hickory kitchen table that I'm making. I wanted to go over some elements of the joinery. The construction is fairly simple. I have 4 legs, and if you look at the plans, there's a front single drawer. There's a top rail and a bottom rail. That's all cut from the same piece of wood, so there'll be continuous grain. Obviously 2 side panels and 1 back panel. On each of the legs there will be 2 tenons. These will be floating tenons on a domino. They could just easily be dowels, or they could be hand cut tenons as well. So this is where the front rails will attach to the leg. From the front perspective, these will be inset 1/8 of an inch for a nice shadow line. And you'll see that these are 1 3/8 wide. Even though the front drawer is 3/4 of an inch wide, I wanted to have almost a full width from the 1/8 inch inset into the drawer for strength, and also so that the drawer is running on this when it first slides in. So again, these will be the 2 dominoes attaching the top and bottom rail. And on the side, I've marked where the dominoes will be cut for the side panels and the back panel. Now on the legs, I also want an 1/8 inch reveal, so that the side panels and the back panels will sit in 1/8 of an inch. I like the shadow line. I will very slightly round over these corners, really more breaking the edge with a plane and some 120 grit sandpaper. The hickory is very, very hard, very, very sharp if I were to leave it purely at a 90-degree angle. Now the one thing is, to do that very easily, what I will do is, you can do it either direction, but basically if I cut the tenon, the domino, on this, I'll slide my domino in. I will then raise that up when I cut the matching domino on the side and the back panel. I will raise it up exactly 1/8 of an inch, and then that will give me my 1/8 inch round over. On the inside front of the legs, I will cut the dominoes going face down, so the domino will be positioned like this, so that I can cut the domino. Again, remembering that I do not want to center this. I want to have it 1/8 of an inch in from the front edge. So I want to show you how I go about marking for the tenons. Again, this is my left leg. I always mark my legs front left, front right, rear left, rear right. Always on the top, so I can always know which way I'm orienting it. So again, this is front left. This is the inside. This will be the top and bottom rail. So this is my left side, where the left panel is going to attach, and these are the marks that I made for the dominoes. So I am going to mark these. By the way, I generally use a mechanical pencil. I find these are very accurate. They can be sharpened with a manual mechanical pencil sharpener, and because I work in hickory, maple, cherry, even walnut, I can easily buy different colors. So I use yellow on walnut, I'll use red on maple and hickory, and I'll use the plain lead, basically the average lead color on cherry. Sometimes, depending on if it's already had some UV exposure and it's already darkened, I might use a yellow. This case I'm using red. I have a sharp point. So I'm going to mark where the matching dominoes are on the top and bottom on the left panel. I will then take a square and I will mark those as square points for my domino. What I like to do is, since I may have multiple lines drawn here, I'm always going to mark that this is the left, this is the top, it's a left panel, and that this is the front. And I tend to circle these because I can see them through the domino window when I'm cutting them. So what I will do is I will mark, and I've marked these, I will cut these on the domino, and then I will cut the back dominoes, I will cut both the right side and the back ones. And then I will take those, I have all these matching lines, which I will do, and then I will lower the domino by 1/8 inch, so that if this is, let's say, 3/8 of an inch down, this one will be 1/2 inch down, and I'll have my perfect 1/8 inch reveal. So now that I've cut my dominoes on the end of the side and back rails. I didn't film this for you because there's so many videos of people cutting dominoes. I don't think you need to see that. But I have the domino set at 3/4 of an inch. So I'm centered in the 3/4 of an inch panel. And again, I want to have a 1/8 inch reveal. So I want to set the domino an additional 1/8 inch down on each leg. So I am going to now raise this up and take an additional 1/8 inch setup block, push that down, and now my domino will be 1/8 inch farther down. I will cut those on the inside of the back rails and the inside of the back legs, and then I will be able to do the final piece, which is a bit more manual, of cutting the dominoes on the front insides and on the rails of the drawers, which are here. These I will cut at, again, 3/4 of an inch centered, and then on the inside I will cut these manually. By the way, you'll see here that I have a container. I cut my own hardwood dominoes. They're just a bit pricey when you buy them originally from Festool. These are all hardwood. I use whatever scraps I have around. It may be maple, it may be cherry, it may be walnut, but I can do this in about 10 minutes on the bandsaw, and then usually use the table saw with my crosscut sled, a pencil, and an eraser. I find if I do them on the chop saw, they fly all over the place. It's a bit dangerous. So I will cut the legs next, and then move on to the inside rail. So now I'm going to cut the domino in the top and bottom rails. These again are going to be oriented horizontally, but I'm cutting the dominoes in this, and then a matching domino, again horizontally, in the inside of the leg. After that, I will cut the dominoes that mate up to the sides and back on the other pieces of the legs. So now I'll just test my fitting of the domino. This is my bottom rail, so it's all aligned. I'll tune this a little bit, and I'll cut the other 3 dominoes. Again, these are the top and bottom rails. The drawer will slide in between these. After I do that, I will then adjust the domino for an extra 1/8 inch shadow line reveal and cut all the leg dominoes. Now that the dominoes are cut, I have roughly fitted them into the leg with the drawer front, and you'll see my original lines to track the continuous grain are still evident. This is the right leg, has the same dominoes on the other side. You'll notice that I do blue tape. You can use the green painter's tape. I find this is helpful because I can cut out of the tape exactly where I want the domino to go, and it just makes it easier when I'm aligning or drawing lots of reference lines on here. So now I will adapt the domino, bring it down for an extra 1/8 inch, and then I will run my dominoes for the side and the back rails accordingly. So what I've done now is I've cut some test dominoes in a piece of wood that matches my leg stock height. I have my original dominoes, which were centered top to bottom in a 3/4 inch thick piece of hickory. I put one of my dominoes in here in the test piece, and I'm putting that in here. And as you can see, I've got my 1/8 inch test strip, and I'm exactly flush. So this gives me my 1/8 inch reveal or a shadow line, which I like on all the pieces so that I don't just have a flat front or flat sides. Gives me a little bit of a shadow line. I will now that I know that the domino is all set, I will cut all of those, and then I will show you the rough fitting of all the sides, back and front rails as soon as these dominoes are cut. So I've finished cutting all my dominoes. Everything is rough fitted, still some adjusting to do. But you'll see by using my setup blocks, I've been easily able to create on the top and bottom rails where the drawer will fit in an 1/8 inch reveal here and here. My tops are pretty much aligned, again some rough fitting. And then on the sides, again also a 1/8 inch reveal here, and on the back of the back leg and the back rail. So basically my joinery now is finished on the general part of the casework. I will start doing sanding. I will make a permanent mark where it's hidden on these. Right now I've got a lot of pencil lines. I'll be sanding through the grits, starting at 100, 150, 220. On the top I will probably go to 320. I'll do a water pop on the top, which I'll show you briefly in another video. Especially with hickory, with it being very tough and very grainy, sort of an open grain, a bit like oak or walnut. I'll do a water pop and resand that. I will then fit the drawers, and then the last couple of pieces of joinery that I'll need to do is to fit the drawer slides, which are going to be all wood. So there'll be a horizontal flat rail, and then a side rail which will align with the legs. And then I will use what are called figure eights to attach the top. So those will get drilled in with a Forstner bit. I'll show you that later. Probably 3 on the back, 3 in the front, 2 on the sides. The figure eights are nice because they allow you to, on the side pieces, to allow for some movement. So when there is slight movement from humidity, the figure eights will move as the top expands and contracts. I will also, because I know the client where this is going in their kitchen, the floor is not totally level. So in the bottoms, I will drill in some leveling legs, and especially with a wood like this, I will chamfer all 4 corners of the bottom of the leg. Chamfer those with either a chamfering bit or maybe with just a very sharp hand plane or chisel, and then sand that. And that's so that, especially on a highly grained wood like this, you don't get chip outs if someone drags it across the table. Again, there will be leveling feet with cork pads on the bottom or felt pads, but I like to make sure that clients don't have something like a corner that chips off. I will break these corners with probably just 150 grit sandpaper. I may do a very light single plane with a hand with my block plane, so that this edge and all 4 edges are not really sharp. But I will not round this over. I really want this to have a very clean, square look. So I'll be back to you in a week or so with a video on the top, the drawer slides. These will all be finished sanded. All the marks will be gone. Please like and subscribe. I hope you enjoy this. Please leave comments with any questions that you have. I look at these and I answer all the questions. Thanks. Bye.